19th, 2023 at 7 o'clock. Could we go ahead and have roll call, please?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mrs. Heidinger?
Yes.
Mr. Lovely?
Yes.
All tied.
Pledge of allegiance over to your guys' turn. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to item 3, approval and correction of the minutes from the regular board meeting of last month, May 15th, 2023. Could I go ahead and have a motion to accept, please?
Dick.
Thanks, Justin. A second?
Heidinger.
Any discussion? Any corrections and everything look okay?
Yep.
Okay. No discussion. Let's go ahead and have a vote.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mrs. Heidinger?
Yes.
Mr. Lovely?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes, ma'am. Item 4. We've got a presentation today with Mr. Holt.
Your student
Holt.
showcase. Once upon a time, but not now.
Up to podium.
All right. So Chad asked me to present about my first year in this role because it is kind of brand new. And so I was having a conversation with my grandma in December, it was right before Christmas. And she said, what exactly is it that you do? My fiance was sitting next to me and she said, well, I don't really know the answer to that either.
Neither do
And so we
we.
thought maybe none of the staff do either, and maybe none of you do either. And so we'll talk about what I did to tell the staff, but that's kind of the theme of today's presentation. So, director of what? We kind of, oh, you can't really see it up there. We kind of tried to break out the word communication into some of the things I'm working on. So, right now, surplus auctions, Jill would have to tell me the exact numbers. We know she's good at that. Roughly $20,000 sold in surplus auctions. We've sold buses all over the United States. A lot of surplus equipment that we just didn't need anymore. That room back there, that is now my office, was full of filing cabinets. We got all those out of here. So I did a lot of that early. So substitute support, we had a substitute come to us and say, we need to train new substitutes on how to be a substitute. To our knowledge, there are no other school districts in the state doing that. And so we kind of tried to pioneer a little bit of a training. We bring them in for a half day. I work with them in the conference room. Mike presents to them, Chad presents to them, and then we take them around to all the buildings because they may not be familiar with our buildings, and so we show them what that looks like too. We also are doing some emergency preparedness planning. So I work a lot with Mike and with Chad on making sure we're ready to go with our emergency plans. Hopefully we don't ever have to use them, but it's really important we're ready in case we need to be. We did a website redesign. I didn't actually design it. We hired a contractor to design it. My job is to make sure that that is updated all the time so we have fresh pictures and fresh news and information out there. Chad tasked me with really making sure that I integrate our culture into a lot of what I do. One of the things that we worked on was a weekly update, which hopefully you all have been receiving here this second semester. That's a weekly newsletter that goes out to all of our staff so that they are aware of what's going on from a district perspective. Media relations, I work a lot with Tim and with Dennis Beverly at WKTN to make sure that the local media and subsequently local community know what we're doing in the school district, which is really important. And then I added staff appreciation to my list. That was something the second week of May, and Chad came in and said, I'm not really great at this whole staff appreciation thing. And so it was my job to take it and run with it and make sure that staff felt appreciated, and hopefully they did. We kind of took that up to the next level a little bit there. I've got a funny picture in here. 11 years ago this November, this picture was taken in that conference room. One was the IT office. That's Ryan Collins and John Dean. I job shadowed them, and so I'm still answering a few tech support calls. I have one tomorrow. So I'm still answering help desks and having fun with those guys as well. So back to this question. Director of what? We like to say I'm a director of getting stuff done. And Chad likes to tell me that all the time. In another presentation I have an image of a guy typing at a keyboard, and I like to say that's what Chad does all day, is he sits in his office, types on his keyboard, and finds more things for me to do. But that's the way we like it. One of the things that really kind of brought up in terms of what is, the staff doesn't know necessarily what I do. And so we went around to all the buildings, and we trained them, trained our staff members on how to share positive messages. There's a really good quote from our partner Parent Square, you're all familiar with Parent Square, that says, encourage your staff to share the good and the growth they see in their classrooms every day. So I posed that question to staff and I said, will you tell me you see growth every day in your classroom? They all shook their head, yes. I said, are you telling people about it? Some of them were, but not all of them were. And so we are trying to work with our partners in local media and other places to make sure we're posting that not only to our parents, but to our broader community. This is a Cambridge University Press study from the year 2000 to the year 2009. And it really illustrates what we learned in journalism school, and it's a little saying that if it bleeds, it leads. That's the truth. If something's really gory and juicy, right, people want to consume that content. The more positive stories don't always get that same traction. We have to work twice as hard to make sure that those positive stories get out. And so that's kind of illustrated in this graph, where left side is negative. You can see more magazines sold, this is in the UK, than the positive stories over that decade. Other than that, we've worked on just a few of those projects I talked about from Chad. This is just a generic driver's license in the state of Ohio. What we did was we realized we had some safety money, and we thought about our visitors and how they're coming into our schools. And right now, we take their name and we send them into the school. And we realized maybe we can tighten that up a little bit. So now, visitors, this is soft launch at the elementary at the end of last year. This will begin in all buildings except for the administration building here, starting in August, where visitors will present their ID, their driver's license, to a camera that will screen it against our local custody information, so any custody disputes that the court has ordered this person is not allowed in the school, that will flag. And it will also check the National Sex Offender Registry. If they pass, there will be what's called screening. They'll get a time expiry badge like this one. It's a label, sticks on their chest like this. And our secretaries will place a little disc over that stop sign. In 12 hours, that white disc fades away, it'll turn red, about as red as the tablecloth there. Our staff will be trained in August. If you see that red stop sign, you better be stopping somebody and asking them what they're doing in the building, because they've had that sticker for 12 hours at that point, and they need to be asking why. If it flags, it will automatically notify our school resource officers and our building level administration, Chad, Mike, and myself, to say, hey, we've got a situation in the office and we need help right now. That's visitor management, again, rolling out in August. So, faster response times, like I just talked about, we've got safer students, and we have a stronger integration if that situation goes even worse. We've got quick access for our secretaries to start the next level in our safety plans. Digital records, I talked about all those filing cabinets. We didn't just burn the records. We would have loved to have gone out to Rodney's house and had a big fire and just roasted marshmallows, but we didn't do that. We partnered with a company called SC Strategic Solutions out of Fremont, Ohio. They brought a truck in here and about 7 guys, loaded up all those files, trucked them to Fremont, and they've scanned those. One by one. That's not a job I want, because they have to go through, scan each page, and write the kid's name and their date of birth in there, so we can go back now and find Rodney's school records with just a quick keystroke. We can look all those up. So they have been here 3 times. We are almost done. We were hoping we'd be completely done by now. But one more pickup hopefully here in the next couple weeks, and then all of our records will be online. And we are planning to start the school year with no paper records. There's some animosity about that. Some folks are a little concerned, but we're going to help them through it, and it's going to be a good thing once it's all done. Back to the why on that, we have seamless record transfer. Right now, the records have to be physically moved between buildings. We talk about 150 kids in a class, that's a chore to move all those. Right now, there is no such thing as moving those. They'll just be there. Save significant space. I don't really want more filing cabinets in my office again because it was like a maze to get through there. So right now we won't have to worry about those physical spaces. And actually Mike and I are working right now on repurposing some of that physical space to serve students better rather than just be paper files. We have expedited records requests, and we have a little bit more security over who has control of those records. Okay, let's talk about the future. Safety money, we spent, I don't quite know how much, roughly $45,000 on a new radio system in the district. We're hoping that project is completed in August. Over the years, and we've had the same radio system since I was in school, those handheld radios have started to phase out. We're hoping in a communication outage, we'll still be able to contact all of our buildings. When cell phones may not work, we'll still have that radio link. So we'll put radios back in the hands of our administrators, back in our offices. Of course, the school buses will maintain those. And we've really tried to intentionally think through all case scenarios of how we can do that. One quick example is we'll have an emergency channel, right? So if something goes a little sideways, we'll tune right to that. We'll be able to communicate very quickly to everyone in our district. I want to take a minute to thank Justin Rigsby, who left Kenton City Schools to work full-time at Ohio High Point. He was a great asset in terms of security at our school. So with Justin's exit, I've kind of picked up some of these access controls. So we all have the little black fobs. I'm taking a larger role in that. We are going to add fob access and add security cameras to our bus garage this year and our warehouse location, because right now they don't have any. So we'll be adding that. And then Chad Moore spearheaded this one, but we are replacing all security cameras at the elementary school. Building's going on 9 years, and they've not been done. So they're starting to look a little rough compared to current technology, and so we can really get a better picture when we replace all those. So Justin's contracting that one for us as kind of his, I think, final send-off. And so, but the other thing we'll be doing in terms of cameras is right now we have 4 different DVRs, what we call digital video recorders. We'll combine those into one, make it a little easier on everyone to train. It'll be the same across all buildings and all places. Just make it a little easier when we look at that footage. That's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more, and I can talk all night about this, but Mike told me I had to keep it short, so we're going to do that. But I'd love to answer any questions you have about the first year.
You happy here?
Oh, yeah. Terry. Chad's a great person to work for.
We love having him.
I paid her to say that. No, this is a great place to work.
So Cole, this is obviously kind of a new position.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you probably got things on the horizon that maybe you'd like to add, or you think you're kind of full of what you've got on your plate right now?
In terms of
Anything.
projects coming
Yeah,
up?
projects coming up.
Well, I don't
anything
like to
that.
add too many of my own because I know someone else is going to add. I had one added to me today. So lots of stuff gets thrown my way, and I have a graphic in here I didn't upload, but I'm kind of flying the plane while I fly it, right? I'm building the plane while I fly it. And it was a little intimidating, August and September, but we've got a better handle on it now. And so one of the things I just picked up today was helping the new boot camp process for our new hires. So yes, there are things I'm adding all the time. Just kind of wait and see. Every day is a new adventure, and that's kind of nice. It's kind of fun.
Well, we truly appreciate what you're doing for the
Thank you.
district.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So my question is from a standpoint of emergency management.
Yeah.
What are we doing with the digital records? What's our backup?
The backup of the digital records,
Yeah.
they're stored at a warehouse in Fremont.
Okay, but,
That's undisclosed.
okay.
I'm not going to tell you where that is.
I'm not concerned. I mean, it's like if we, technology, emergency planning and things like that, you got to have a backup to backup to backup because
Right.
anything never works out correct.
Right. That data center follows what's considered the standard in the cybersecurity world of an offline backup and online, like digital backup that's not offline, if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
not also network accessible, and then just kind of
Like
standard
it's like
backup.
on an external hard drive?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So,
Yep.
so you're telling me you still have to have paper records, it's just not gonna be here? Moving forward?
Moving forward, no. So we're working primarily with our secretaries. If they do get paper records, think doctors' excuses, dentists' excuses, things of that nature, they will scan those
But
to
what-
be digital, and then they'll destroy the papers.
I guess my question is, why do they keep the old ones if you're not gonna make any new paper
You
records?
have to, by law. It's kind of like the health department and all public records, like if they're on
Yeah, with
paper.
paper, with public records, we can't just, and Jill's kind of the expert on that, but we can't just
Yeah.
burn them.
Right.
But moving forward, you won't have any paper documents
Right.
that replace?
Right, they'll be digitized
Right.
kind of as they come in, and then they'll be destroyed.
And that's what I was asking, like, if something happens to a system, do we have a backup to the
Yes.
system? And that's an external hard drive and stuff
Yes.
like that, so.
Yes, contracted through the data center.
Okay, any other questions for Cole?
You guys want to get your picture taken with him?
Oh, yes.
Well,
Just
After the meeting.
Just because I know that it'll make him.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks, Colt.
Colt doesn't like pictures, is that what I'm getting?
Only behind the camera.
So you can go ahead and leave, Colt, if you want to.
I don't think we had participation when there was nobody on there when I walked in, so. Okay, we'll move on to 6, report of the treasurer. What do you got for us, Jill?
One thing to report as far as where we're at with interest. Interest between the LFI and the local is about $530,000. So we're doing well.
Okay.
I'm just winding down the school year, getting prepped for closing out the month and the fiscal year, which is a big to-do, and then ramping up for the next school year, getting everything done. So June 30th, well, basically the whole month of June, into June 30th, July, that first week of July is pretty busy for us, so that's about it.
Okay, could I go ahead and have a motion to accept that? I know we kind of had our discussion before that, but
Lightly.
thanks, Brandon, appreciate it.
Cancel.
Second. Thank you, Rodney. Any other questions for Jill? Okay.
She keeps bringing up that intersized women. So for some reason, the OFCC is concerned we're not going to spend that interest on the building, and I just want to make sure the public knows that that interest money is going to be put in the building. So I don't know why they think we wouldn't spend it on the building, but
I'm guessing they've got burned by another district somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll have a vote then, please.
Mr. Hensel,
here.
Yes.
Mrs. Heidinger,
Yes.
Mr. Ludley,
Yes.
Mr. Carmine.
Yes.
And Mr. Dick?
Yes.
He's here.
I'm tired.
He's here and he's voting yes.
Just barely here.
Item 7, Superintendent Report Communication.
All right, real quick, I want to start by thanking Colt. He did a nice job presenting, but you got a very small fraction of what he actually does. He truly is in charge of getting stuff done, and it's everything. I was just thinking today, just to give you an example of today, I think I got maybe 3 different emails of things that he's working on. One of them is going to be the Safe Routes to School, and that's going to be a big task. That is a grant toward the new building for sidewalks and pedestrian crossways and all kinds of things. He's going to be helping to be our point of contact to work with Ohio Northern University. They've got a lot of they got some engineering majors that are going to help us work on that grant, but Colt's going to be the one kind of spearheading that. So that's just one example of something that is going on with the new building, but something where I just got the email today. There's just many of those types of things that would not be possible if we did not have him in that position. So I just really, really appreciate him and what he does. Excited to approve a 3-year contract with our teachers this evening. So very, very excited about that. And then excited to announce that we do have a tentative agreement for a 3-year contract or agreement with our classified employees as well. So that is going to be hopefully approved at our July board meeting. They still have to meet and approve on their end, but it's pretty cool to be able to look out and say, okay, for the next 3 years, all of our staff have an agreement in place that should be really good for the next 3 years. So super excited about that. In your agenda tonight, you're going to see JROTC, BPA, FFA. There might be another 1 or 2 in there. Some trips, and I guess I just wanted to highlight that those trips don't happen by accident. We have advisors that are willing to take their time in the summer and take kids and go do things, and it shows a real commitment level up from the kids, but even more so just from the advisors that handle each one of those things. So we just really appreciate their willingness to do that and give our kids those types of opportunities. Resolution to approve the design and development phase. So we are that means we're now entering the construction documents phase, which really means bids will be coming back in about a month to really show us, where we're at. That is about a month later than when we originally anticipated, but again, when we made that choice that we really want to make sure that entire 2-story area is block, it kind of pushed that back a little bit, and we understood that. Now, it does not mean that we are definitely off pace or off schedule, but it does mean that we're about a month off of getting all of the bids to come in, so that should be here in another month. Just want to make sure that I mention we definitely still need substitutes, whether it be custodians, cafeteria workers, teachers. So anybody that has some flexibility in their schedule and would like to work, we're also going to be looking to increase the pay next month for a lot of those same positions. So just be on the lookout for that. We'll probably I'll have Colt get a press release out next month that will kind of explain that, but just know that we're definitely looking for people to hire into those positions. And then Pam Hamilton, I wanted to highlight her. Again, a lot of this is in here, but she is retiring. She's only been here for 7 years, but she's done a phenomenal job. She was truly a leader as a custodian, somebody that was a very hard worker, so we're going to miss her. And then Mo Willis, he's been driving bus for us for 17 years. Great guy. I think there was actually maybe an article in the paper at some point about him and some of the kids on his bus. He just formed relationships with his kids and did a great job. So we're really going to miss him, but he's going to retire, and so we just want to thank both of them. And that is it for me. Thank you.
Item 8, committee reports. The only one we've got listed here is extracurricular. We don't think we met, do we?
We did.
We did. We met last month. I kind of have an update.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Athletics, Parker Rary and Tatum Miller qualified for state track. Tatum did make it to the podium in both shot and disc. The baseball team finished 10-10 overall, 4-5 in WBL with a win against Bath in the sectionals. Seth Mans and Mitch Stevens qualified for districts in tennis. Athletic department held a KMS involvement fair on May 23rd where each 8th grader received a t-shirt. That was to help 8th graders explore options for next year when they enter into the high school. Ohio High School Athletics Association is updating and transferring to new software called Dragonfly. We will also be utilizing a new service for our student athletes that is called Honest Game. This software will help with eligibility and recruitment for college. Choir and band update. Looks like each department held their auditions for upcoming 2023 season. Cabaret was an amazing show. I did attend. It was also bittersweet to see the seniors say their goodbyes. So, and then it also looked like the Florida trip was a huge success for each department. As part of this administration, I'd like to say thank you to everyone involved in making that trip happen for each student. So that's that in a nutshell, I guess.
Thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think we had any old business to discuss. We'll go ahead and move on to new business. Item 10, authorization of resolutions. Looks like we've got approval quote for I'm guessing that's kind of the curriculum. McGraw-Hill.
Yes.
Used to be books, but I'm not sure it's
Yep.
books. It's so much anymore, but.
There are still some, but yeah, a lot of it's digital now.
And some handbooks, high school plan insurance. And we've got some donations there. Again, we thank all those donations for any donations that we get here at the school. We much appreciate those. Looks like we've got a couple band, elementary school, and we've got 2 exchange students coming this year, it looks like.
There'll actually be more. I think we approved 1 last month, 2 this time, and I think there might be 1 more.
So maybe a total of 4
We may
this year.
have 4, yep.
And we just had the 1 no, we had 2 last year, didn't we?
2, I think.
Yeah, there were 2 last year. This is the overnight trip that Tad was talking about for JRTC, or F there. And then G is the 3-year KEA agreement. And then temporary appropriations as presented earlier. It looks like we've got just some amended certifications for resources. That must be a request from Jill, I take
Yep.
it. Contract between Illuma and Kansas City Schools. Learning plan for Calamity Days. Okay, we're approving that tonight. Overnight trip for our JROTC again. Business Professionals of America. And then item 10P, I think what Chad was discussing with the new building for the next steps of that. And I guess we're with 10 then. We need a motion to accept those, please.
Hansel.
Thanks, Rodney. Second?
Dick?
Thanks, Justin. Any other discussion or questions or clarification on item 10? Any of item 10s? With none, we'll go ahead and have a vote.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mrs. Heidinger?
Yes.
Okay, item 11 looks like they're just personnel items. We've got a resignation, supplemental contract, extended renewals, supplemental contract for non-employee, 11C. Looks like we've got 3 that continuing education, so we've got some salary adjustments. Resignations for Sierra Brown, is that right? Sierra Brown, intervention specialist, a couple more volunteers. There's Pam Hamilton that Chad mentioned earlier for services, retirement. Summer help, substitute teachers for next year. Looks like we got a couple people transferring around within the school. Awesome. And then some staffing. 11L. Hiring an intervention specialist, resignation for Willie Moe. Resignation for Mason Woodruff. Approve, looks like we're hiring a bus driver and an educational assistant. Could I have a motion to accept item 11?
Ledley.
Ledley, thank you. Second?
Heidinger?
Thanks, Tasha. Any other discussion, questions about item 11? Okay, if not, we'll have a vote.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
No. Yes.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mrs. Heidinger?
Yes.
Mr. Ledley?
Yes.
I'm focusing.
Item 12,
I'm
we've got-
focusing on not. I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, he's over here mambling through it. I'm like,
Addendum here, we've got a custodian and 2 custodians, it looks like.
Yep.
So last minute add-ons, it looks like, for that. Could I have a motion to accept these 2, please?
Heidinger?
I got Heidinger first there. Second?
I've gotta go, man. Here, second.
All right, any discussions? If not, we'll have a vote.
No, let's not talk about it.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mrs. Heidinger?
Yes.
Mr. Ledley?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes. Item 13, we'll approve a motion to go into executive session to prepare for, conduct, and review collective bargaining, discuss details of security arrangements and emergency response protocols. So time in for that will be 7:27. And there'll be no further action taken. So, and then could I have a motion to accept that, please?
Dick.
Thanks, Dick.
Hensel.
And Hensel, thank you.
You still
We
got to
need to vote
vote.
that.
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and have a vote.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mr. Dick? Mrs. Heidinger?
Yes.
We're not
Mr.
very
Ledley?
professional, are we?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
We're very professional.
It's summer.
Do we need to time out for this adjournment?
No.
Okay. And then the next regular Board of Education meeting will be held on July 17th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Okay.